Fuji-Q Highland is on every enthusiast's bucket list. They don't have a ton of coasters, but they have some of the most extreme rides on the planet, and that's even after losing the coaster with the world's fastest acceleration, Dododonpa. Located in Fuji Yoshida, in the shadow of Mount Fuji itself, I got to this park back in July and it was a surreal experience. I was in awe of the coasters I heard so much about over the years, Fujiyama, Takabisha, and especially Ijunaika, the coaster many people say is the best in the world. I only got one day here, but I made it count. This is my review of Fuji-Q Highland, Japan's Xtreme Park. First, I want to thank my patrons and my new members, Jonathan Paduk, The Kev Guy, Nick Talent, and Rika. If you want bonus access, bonus content, behind the scenes videos, a shout out when you join, and your name on this fancy Patreon screen, follow the link below and join. As you pull up to Fuji-Q Highland, you just notice the massive coasters in the skyline. Ijunaika and Fujiyama are both at or over 250 feet tall, and it's the perfect introduction to this park. And for me, this is a place I've been wanting to get to for decades. So to see it right there in the flesh is pretty surreal. Their grand entrance to the complex is right in front of Fujiyama, the Togo that used to be the world's tallest coaster, still one of the world's longest coasters. And it's hard to imagine a better welcome to Fuji-Q Highland than this monster right there front and center. This isn't the park entrance, it's actually just the gift shop. And once you get through that, you have a winding path of shops leading to the park's main entrance, serving as kind of a downtown Disney city walk type area, just on a way smaller scale. Once you get to the park's entrance, you scan your ticket and then you scan your face. This park has different levels of passes, and with one pass, you don't have full access to the rides. You'll see prices on the entrance of all the rides if you want to pay individually, and some of the rides have a ticket kiosk in the front. But if you're going to Fuji-Q and you're watching this video, let's face it, you're going for the unlimited rides pass, and they use your face as your rides pass. You have to stare into a tablet before getting on every ride, but luckily for me and everyone else I was with, this worked without issues all day. The park isn't all that big. As soon as you enter, you see those two major coasters right there in the front, Fujiyama on the left, Takabisha on the right, and there would have been one other coaster right there in the front next to Takabisha, Dododonpa, the world's most extreme launch coaster, but that was shut down in 2021 and finally removed last year. But they still have the vertical loop standing, at least for right now, and it really hurts that I was too late to ride this. Heading further into the park, you pass their newest coaster, the Intamin Family Launch, Sokon, and you keep going to find the entrance for Ijunaika. Just around the corner, you'll find their family suspended coaster, Voyage dans le Ciel, and off to the south side behind Dododonpa's vertical loop, you have the kids area, Thomastown. They have a bunch of kids rides here, but if you're a coaster enthusiast, you'll want to snag the one credit they have, Naya and Animal Coaster. One cool thing you'll notice as you walk around is the lines on the ground. They're all color-coded and lead you to the major rides. The only problem is, if you don't know what color corresponds to the ride you want, you don't know which line to follow, and I rarely saw anything explaining which line was which. They have 6 coasters, which is kinda light, but this park is definitely quality over quantity. But if you need more to do, they have some very good non-coaster rides, especially their Flying Theater. This is right next to Takabisha, and for half the day, it's Fuji Airways, taking you around Mount Fuji and ending at the park, kinda like Soarin' at the Disney parks. And the second half of the day, it's Attack on Titan, based on the popular anime series. This had a really nice long ride time, but the picture quality was kinda bad in some areas. Still, at one point, your plane does a barrel roll, and that's something you definitely don't get with Soarin'. So I would say this is probably my favorite Flying Theater. They also have a shooting dark ride very similar to Toy Story Mania. They have flying planes, a Zamperla Discovery themed to a pizza, a Starflyer, a Ferris wheel, and I even heard the dark ride inside Thomastown was really good, but didn't have time to check it out. They also have something called Impossible Games, kind of an escape room attraction, very unique for a theme park. One other great thing was the Fujiyama Tower. You have to leave the park for this one. It's right outside the main gift shop, and if you have an all-day pass, you can get up there for no extra charge. Just make sure you hang on to your paper ticket. We didn't need this all day inside the park, but they do want to see it if you go up in the tower. Just know that if you want to go in and out of the park and see the shops or the tower, you will have to go back through security. This is a great observation tower. You can see almost the whole park. If you want to get good pictures, I would absolutely choose this tower over the Ferris wheel, and it's cool how Fujiyama comes right up and wraps around it. There's also a metal slide up there. I heard that's not free with admission. Not that I would have done it, but it's insane to go down a slide from 200 feet in the air. One important thing to keep in mind when planning a full day at Fuji-Q is their rain policy. We barely ran into any rain on that trip, but we did have one small cell pass over. It was barely more than a drizzle, but I was warned they would not operate any rides in any kind of rain, and sure enough, everything shut down. I was in line for Voyage, and they just stopped dispatching. I could see Aijanika where I was standing, and that stopped also. And honestly, I can't think of any American parks that will stop dispatching in the rain. Maybe some rides can't run in the rain, but stopping the rides with a light rain with no lightning in the area, that's just unheard of in most places. If you're planning on going here and there's a good chance of rain for most of the day, I don't see why you would want to even bother. Try to avoid rainy season and give yourself a little flexibility so you don't miss out on these world-class coasters. Let's talk about ops. Japan is legendary for its slow ops, and from my experience, this rang very true. They value being overly super safe over fast operations. Every ride has a safety spiel. The ops will make you read a card showing all the reasons a person shouldn't ride, like health problems, and they want you to acknowledge it. They have a whole speech they give you on just about every ride, and every coaster except for the one in Thomastown had a metal detector. Sometimes it's the full-on machine, and sometimes it's just a ride-up with a wand. But here's the insane thing. They even had one on Voyage, the family coaster that barely goes 30 miles an hour. This was my first time going through TSA on a family coaster, and hopefully it'll be the last time. Some of their coasters only had one train also. I thought Fujiyama had 2 in the morning, but they were definitely down to 1 by midday. Aijanika had 1. Takabisha only seats 8 riders, so they had 2. So did Zokan. It seemed like we were looking at 7 to 10 minute dispatches. Voyage only seats 1 adult at a time. Well, I should say it only seats 1 at a time unless you want to sit in someone's lap. So that kinda sucked getting a bunch of enthusiasts on there. We waited an hour for Voyage, but the rain didn't help with that. We waited about 30 minutes for Fujiyama in the afternoon. Zokan and Takabisha were about 20, and Aijanika was like 15 to 20 minutes each time. One thing that did help us there was the scheduled maintenance window. This closes between 1:30 and 2 o'clock to be inspected, so if you're stuck in line during this time, that's not great. But if you can get in line right when it opens back up, you might get a much shorter line, and we did exactly that for ride number 2. This park does sell priority passes, and if you make an account, you can buy those online up to 3 days before your visit. As for the price, I don't think it's too bad, but it may vary on the date or the ride. We didn't bother getting one. Luckily, the crowds were light enough on that Friday that it wasn't really needed, but you might want to look into it, given how slow their dispatches are and your need for re-rides. I do have some good news about their ops, and that is, they do not staple you on any ride. I didn't really have this problem in Japan in general, but it was noticeable here, especially on Fujiyama. This is where you really want to feel the airtime. As for loose articles, you can just forget about it. You will need a locker for just about every ride, and they are provided for free. Normally, I bring my cargo shorts. I have zippers in all the pockets. I have a spot for everything I need at a park. Phone, camera, extra batteries, Tylenol. But I knew I would have to empty my pockets on every ride, so I just brought a bag to stuff into a locker. On Fujiyama, they were even lending out bags for people who didn't have them. So if you can pre-plan and bring some kind of bag for your stuff, I would 100% recommend that. That made life so much easier, and their locker system is pretty good. Every ride has the lockers in the station, or right before the station, and the only coaster where this was inefficient was Fujiyama. Those lockers are on the other side of the station, so you can't stash your stuff until the train arrives and it's time to board. These lockers are controlled by an actual key. They have a band you can wrap around your wrist, and that's very secure, and I like this a lot better than using a code or anything electronic, something that can malfunction. Also note that you must take off your shoes in Aijanika, even if you have real shoes that are tied to your feet. This is the only ride I've ever seen that makes you take off your shoes no matter what. One thing to consider about their coasters. Like every ride, it has a minimum height requirement, but you will also see signs showing a max age limit. The extreme coasters like Aijanika are 54, and some other of the rides are 65. I don't know if they enforce this, but apparently there's a senior ticket you can buy, and if the ops see you're wearing a senior bracelet, they may stop you from riding. This makes a lot more sense than checking IDs at the station, so just be aware of that. You may have also heard that Japanese restraints are not accommodating to larger guests. Like, their clearances are lower than America, but this did not seem to be a problem here. Before I rank the coasters, I want to note that this is for sure Japan's Xtreme Park, and it has one of the most extreme collection of coasters in the world. Funny thing is, it could be even better. I mentioned Dododanpa being removed. That went from 0 to 112 miles an hour in 1.6 seconds. A launch that was said to be like getting hit by a truck. And if you want to go back even further, they had the world's first coaster to stand over 200 feet, Moonsault Scramble. This closed in 2000, so it's been a while. But not only was this the world's tallest coaster, it also pulled 6.5 Gs in the pretzel knot. This stood where Takabisha is now, so at least we got an extreme replacement. Their 6th best coaster was Naya and Animal Coaster. This is from Sansei Technologies, opened in 1998, and it's about as tame as it gets. a dip and a couple turns, 11-mile-an-hour top speed. Has a couple animal statues there. There's really nothing to it. Number 5 is Voyage dans le Ciel. Opening in 2000. Built by Hoei Sangyo. This apparently opened as a flying coaster but was converted to an invert. This has decent size, 76 feet tall, 31 miles an hour, almost 1,600 feet of track, and really reminded me of Pteranodon Flyers. Being under the track, the single car swinging, it even had a little airtime hill. Like I said, I waited an hour for this, so I was looking for any validating factors I could find. Number 4 is Zocon. This coaster has a lot going on. Forward sections, backward sections, 3 launches, an absolutely smashing soundtrack, and everyone was raving about this intimate family motorbike coaster. The newest coaster in the park, opening in 2023. I think that hype was a bit too much. It was fun, but it really pales in comparison to the big 3 here. But in terms of serving a purpose in the park, this really is the only intermediate coaster the park has now, having removed their Wild Mouse in 2019. I did really enjoy the lower the ground weaving back and forth. That was mainly at the beginning, but the rest of the ride was pretty tame. Number 3 is Takabisha. This opened as the world's steepest coaster at 121 degrees, and since Shellraiser hasn't been open for almost 2 years, I guess it has that title back. If you don't know, this is the coaster that was cloned for Shellraiser, a Gerstlauer Eurofighter that opened in 2011. Shellraiser has a roughness pothole issue in the front row, and that's where I got to sit on Takabisha also. I was hoping this wouldn't have the same problem, despite being 8 years older, but I'm sad to say this was a bit rough too, and it made it hard to enjoy such an amazing layout. I did love the indoor beginning, including the first inversion, and that powerful rolling launch, but those inversions come at you fast in the front row, and it feels like you're gonna smash your head into them. I was battling that rattle, and it did give me a bit of a headache. I love the beyond vertical drop. I love the power and the elements of the ride, but I just didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Shellraiser. Number 2 is Fujiyama. If you want to see my full review, that link's down below. This ride is just a riot. I said, it's so bad, it's actually good. This is a Togo from 1996, and it was once the world's tallest coaster and just screams 90s Togo. Bad transitions, so much speed, wonky angles, and in the second half, some forces that really should be illegal. I couldn't help but love this coaster for all its flaws. It was just stupid and fun, and it's something I wish I could have ridden all day. Never has a coaster made me laugh as hard as this one, especially with the most demented finale of any coaster I've ever ridden. Number 1 is Aijunaika. Well, it is the second coaster that caused me to crack my neck. This one doing it just with extreme lateral forces. I said, this is the craziest coaster on the planet. Not having ridden all the coasters on the planet just yet, I feel pretty confident in my claim. I have a full review on this also, that's down below, but this SNS 4th Dimension coaster is just off the wall. 249 feet tall, 78 miles an hour, relentless, insane pacing, crazy laterals in the 0G roll and the twist into the brakes. It really tests the limits of the human body, so by all means, good luck. This coaster is so intense, they have a 54-year-old age limit, and it will even leave the most seasoned coaster enthusiasts speechless on the brake run. When it comes to food, we ate here once. That was at the food stadium next to Takabisha in the Flying Theater. I had the roast beef stacked up on a pile of rice that came with some spicy soup. That was pretty good park food, nothing that's gonna make you sick. And they also gave us room temperature Coke, which was kinda odd. This place does have indoor seating and a water dispenser, which was very nice, since drinking fountains aren't really a thing outside the Disney and Universal parks. Last thing, if you want to find good merchandise, that's not hard to do here. There's a great shop outside Fujiyama, and there's also the main gift shop outside the park. You'll find just about anything there. Shirts, magnets, you name it. They have quality stuff here. Just note, Takabisha and Aijunaika have logos that are not in English, so you have to know what you're looking for if you want merch for those rides. That's all I have for Fuji-Q Highland. Let me know what you think about this park if you've been here, and if not, where this is on your bucket list and what you're looking forward to the most. Before you go, don't forget to drop a like, and if you're new here and love coasters, please give me a sub. Also, check out my second channel where I post copyright-free off-ride footage. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.